What's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday, January 20th, 3:30 p.m. my time. I'm in the central time zone of the US. I figured I'd do a midday analysis on Bitcoin altcoins because we've had some choppy price action going into today. And I would probably figure we're going to have more choppiness going into the rest of the week and quite possibly the end of the month, which is in around 10 days from now. Let's discuss some of the things that are on my mind of what I'm noticing in the market. First things first, I think it's important for us to establish that the trend line that we had held from 10th of December, this one right here, all the way up, that has obviously been breached, right? And we were unable to recover and break above that numerous times, as you can see. We tried multiple times right here. And then basically what we did was we failed and we then rolled over. See, these are important distinctions in helping understand that when the market is gradually progressing up and then it has a swift sell-off, recovers itself back inside a previous trend line or a momentum, what does it do after that? Does it put in a lower high like it did over here, or does it blast up right through that and just start putting in higher highs? Does it range for a while and then show maybe a distributive pattern, or does it maybe show another form of reaccumulation? These are all things that, as you look at markets over and over again, day in and day out, something that I do pretty much every single day, you get to recognize a couple of things, which is that markets are pretty honest, meaning that they do not lie or put you in deceit in when they're trying to show you momentum shifts. Yeah, you may get some random squeezes up here and there, but if you understand the dynamics of liquidity and say funding and key support and resistance levels or untested support levels or untested resistance levels, you get to understand that the market is really a big game of exploiting people to the upside or to the downside, trapping people down below and having them short right at the bottom and then squeezing them to the upside, or trapping people way at the top and having them buy false breakouts and then have price dump on them. These are all things that get extrapolated in a market dynamic. If you just pay attention to things closely, you will understand the market has a rhythmic fashion to it. And right now, what the market is rhyming and saying poetically is that we are right now grinding down slowly. Let me get rid of that. We are slowly grinding down like this. However, it's not an easy grind down that you may think that from here we're going to just break straight down. See, I actually believe the opposite, which is that I think the market is doing something in this area that many will not be able to recognize. Now, as someone who's traded the traditional markets for about 11 years and hopping into crypto, option space has a lot of importance. Why? Because options themselves carry a lot of premium, carry a lot of money associated with it. And with that, when you have options purchased on one platform, you tend to go on other platforms like spot, let's just say Coinbase or Kraken, or like perpetual longs like FTX or BitMEX or Bybit, and you tend to double down on your positions of options, or you want to hedge your options. And so the one thing I generally pay attention to is where exactly are options positioned right now. So I spoke about this in my tweet earlier this morning, and I said that max pain for options right now is to pin price right around $35,000. I even told my community earlier this morning when I made them a video, I stated no matter what happens through the day today, I am fairly confident that price is going to be somewhere around this area. Give or take maybe $100, $200 here, but I don't think we're going to be at 37 or 38K, and I don't think we're going to be down at 33 or 32K. I think we're going to be right here. We're going to be smack dab right in the middle. And I'm going to explain to you guys exactly why that is. So if you look at the call open interest, which are the aqua lines, and the put open interest, which are the lavender or purple colored lines, notice that a lot of the majority of call options are right here skewed to the right. Most of them being 37 and 38. And then the puts, meaning you're betting for the price to break down, are more so on the 34 and 33 front. So if the price the majority of the prices are skewed for calls to 37.38 and for the puts to the 34s and 33s. Well, what's remaining? Anywhere between 35 and maybe 36, where there's not a whole lot of options volume. As you can see, look at these bars right here. This is generally the area where price might get pinned to. Might be possible that we might be somewhere around 35,400 or 500. So it's between 35 and 36 possible, but more than likely the max pain is right here because you also have a low amount of call buying activity right here and a relatively low amount of put buying up volume right here. Okay, so this then tells me that price today, because remember, this is expiring today. So at the end of the day today, I think FTX closes their contracts around midnight, the US time zone, if I'm not mistaken. So around midnight, or actually I think it's like 6 or 7 p.m. I forget my time. But anyway, point is, in the next several hours, right, by the time daily closes, I expect price to be somewhere around here. And so if the price is somewhere around here, right, there's not going to be a whole lot of volatility. We already had that shakeout volatility, earlier this morning, and now price is again resuming towards 35,000. And I think the same thing is happening across the board, whether it's ETH or FTT or Wi-Fi, Link, everything across the board got sold off, but now it's just being just hovering around a range. So I think at present moment, all right, price is probably going to do something like this. And I'll tell you guys why. So once tonight price expires, that the options volume expires, I think over the next, coming days, maybe like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 days, I think price is gonna exploit people who basically sold down here. And I'll tell you guys why. So say you are looking at this movement right here over the last several days. You're like, holy shit, this looks really weak. I'm gonna short this or sell right here. Whether you sell in this area or right over here, guess where the pain is? Well, the pain is then going to be to the upside. Once price starts pushing up higher and higher, I think price is going to squeeze out anybody who sold down here or shorted down here. And as price starts pushing up higher and higher, those people will get squeezed out of the market if they're short. And price will then trigger stops above here if you're short, or stops above here if you're short. Or they'll force you to cover, meaning as price moves up further and further, you're going to feel the pain of basically being short from down here and say, screw it. If this is going to push higher and higher, I'm just going to go long, right? And here's where, again, all theory, right? Here's where I think the other pain of the market will be. Then once price gets towards this area, which is the third, the 40,000 marker, which is right here, I think once price gets to this area, then it's a decision point. Does price hold above this area and then push higher? Or does it reject this area and sellers once again come in and send this price down? Because if they send price down, very high chance that it comes back towards 34,900 from 40,000. Or if that breaks, then we're going to start attacking this low or this low, or quite possibly this low. So this low right here is around 27,600. This low is around 30,000, and this low is around 32,000. These are all possibilities in price action, the way the market is going right now. Okay, because if I was running the market, this would be the max pain scenario in terms of just overall where you can exploit longs and where you can exploit shorts. Okay. Once again, you can read this tweet if you want to. All right, that's where I've kind of provide more information. We also do have some fundamental analysis that is helping guide and boost Bitcoin, which is BlackRock, which is one of the largest asset management firms in the world. I think they manage somewhere close to $7 to $9 trillion, massive amounts. And they talked about they might be getting involved in Bitcoin futures. And I think from what I heard, what's his name, Rick Ryder, he also stated that more than likely it's possible that they might be involved in Bitcoin as a asset to buy. meaning they're not necessarily going into Bitcoin futures to short. They might be buying it as the same reason other people want to buy it, which is they might see it as an opportunity to get into the next gold, if you will, or the next big currency, because we see Bitcoin as the next gold, something to become the more digital gold, if you will, or the new age gold. And I think BlackRock and other hedge funds and institutions are also seeing that. And I think in either case, it's very positive that someone like BlackRock, or rather an entity or a company like BlackRock, are acknowledging Bitcoin as a asset that they care about, that they want to invest in. Now, it's not necessarily all positive, and like I said, it doesn't mean that they have to be buying and holding for the long term. It can very well be that they're going to Bitcoin futures and they're going to short the market. Okay, this is exactly what happened in 2017 when the market was too extended to the upside. You saw CME futures open right near the top around 2017 when Bitcoin was at $20,000, and they shorted the market to the ground all the way in December 2018, all the way to $3,200. Right? So don't think that BlackRock entering the space means we have to go to 75,000 or 100,000 Bitcoin. Let the market play itself out. Remember, at the end of the day, everything is always dictated by price action. Pay attention to the more important things in the market, which is the market trending up? Is there higher lows being created and higher highs being created? Is price above the 50, 100, and 200-day moving averages? These are the things that you want to be paying attention to, okay? And then, of course, you can pay attention to metrics like, is there more Bitcoin being put onto exchanges to sell? What is the amount of Bitcoin flowing out of exchanges so people want to hold it for the long term? Are altcoins doing well versus Bitcoin, which means there might be an alt season versus more money flowing towards Bitcoin for now? All these things are secondary. The primary thing is who is getting involved. We know BlackRock is, we know people like Paul Tudor Jones are, and we know that the trend of the market is still up. This is the most important thing you need to know. Forget everything else, forget all the noise, okay? So for now, I am still long in Bitcoin, I still have spot Bitcoin, and I'm still long and spot in other altcoins as well, okay? I don't see a shift in the market, and I definitely don't think that it's wise to say that this has to be the top and from here we have to dump. Okay, I don't think that's wise at all. It's way too early to tell. And in fact, I think even if it's about your ego or being right or wrong about being top, there's way more money to be made, in my opinion, to the long side, especially even now in terms of dip buying, than there is to the short side. Okay, because the market is way too premature, too early to tell you that this is the time to short and we're going to dump from here. Okay, all signs point to trend being up, especially knowing that people like BlackRock, Paul Tudor Jones, Grayscale buying all this Bitcoin. You guys know the whole gamut of news that has come out. You should know by now that questioning the ability for Bitcoin to keep pushing up is not a wise decision. Bears have constantly been punished all since 2020, right? Trust me, I know this personally. I got punished myself for shorting Bitcoin. But once you start to realize that there are clues in the market that are showing you that big players are getting involved, the trend is up, it's okay to switch your bias. It's okay to just say, you know what, I don't know how high this thing is going to go, but as long as the trend is up, as long as smart people are getting involved, that's what matters. Don't try to be a hero and time the top. Just go with the flow and see where the market takes you. That's the best advice I can give you, because there are no such things as high valuations anymore. That's gone. Okay, the Fed has done a terrible job at printing money pretty much exponentially. So valuations don't mean anything anymore. The only thing that matters is the trend. And if we understand that the market has these things, right? If you look at my tweet that I put out January 4th, I said, checklist for trading and investing in 2021. Are interest rates low? Yes, they are. Is the dollar printing press still on? Yes, it is. We're printing money. Joe Biden, the president now, just spoke about this a couple of days ago. He said he wants to announce another $2 trillion package for businesses, for corporations, for people. Okay, so we know the printing press is on. High beta and growth stocks outperforming value, meaning tech stocks, growth stocks, things like Tesla, things like Square or Twist, genomics companies, all these big innovative companies, are they outperforming value? Things like utilities or oil, yes, they are. Now, why is that important? Well, because high beta and growth means money is more risk on, meaning investors are okay with taking much more of a risk in assets like Tesla, like Bitcoin, like Square, like Amazon, like Netflix, like Tesla, okay? Versus value like bank stocks or oil stocks or utilities, right? So anyway, that checks off too. Are there any Fed policy changes? Meaning, is the printing press going to stop? Is there going to be a monetary or fiscal policy restraint on how corporations get to conduct their business? Not really. America itself and the global economy as a whole is still struggling to get out of this coronavirus slump. So we need to be as laissez-faire or as hands-off in terms of the Fed policy approach. Meaning, once again, investors, traders alike, they get to go on a more risk on curve in terms of investing, because we know that the Fed itself is putting a floor to the market, meaning they're going out and buying corporate ETFs. They're going out and keeping interest rates low. They're going out and asking, Congress for more money. So overall, we know that all these things check off. And then finally, unemployment. I'm not going to talk about this too much, but generally what you need to know is when unemployment is too high or too low, it's not the best sign for the economy, because you have to have some amount of unemployment to make sure that there isn't too much of an inflation or too much of a deflation. Okay. All in all these things check off. And if all those things check off and you know that the trend of the market is still up, that's what matters. All right. Like I said, don't be a hero and try to short the top. Don't be a hero and start thinking, well, it can't go up forever. Yes, it freaking can. It can go up for a long time. Remember, there's a Mises quote that says that the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. That is basically saying that the market can just keep going up or keep going down. Doesn't matter, right? It can remain irrational longer than you can think or imagine with your money or bet with your money, and thinking that, oh, the market has to come back to reality sometime. See, your reality, the definition of your reality and the definition of the market's reality is completely different, right? Like I said, valuations are, in terms of reasoning, in terms of dynamics, valuations now have a different medium of understanding, right? And we do not value things in the same way, in the same denomination, like we did with the previous monetary policy, and we're printing all this money, then valuations might be much higher than most of us could imagine. And they might help create bigger bubbles than we're ever used to. Okay. And that's not necessarily good, because when bubbles pop, it's extremely painful. But when bubbles are being created, I find it that there is the most amount of money to be made ever. Okay. Even George Soros, you can look this up. He will tell you, or rather, not he will tell you, but he's been quoted to say that when there are bubbles being created, his first instinct is to figure out where exactly is the cycle in the bubble, and he jumps in. He jumps in head first, and he says, okay, I'm going to ride this thing up, make a good amount of money, and then get out before the bubble pops. Okay, I believe the same thing. When there are bubbles being created, you have to understand, first of all, where are you in terms of the bubble? Is the hype too much? Are valuations just completely insane? I don't think so. I think what we're going to see in the next year or so is the insanity of valuations. Anything that you thought of that you think that Bitcoin is too expensive or ETH is too expensive or Wi-Fi is too expensive, wait till you find out till the end of the year, or maybe even next couple of years. Okay, because blockchain as an industry or crypto as an industry is still nascent. Speculative industries oftentimes do have crazy bubbles. Okay, whether you think the terminology bubble is negative or positive, that's the fact, right? That's just how it is. They have very speculative betting, and prices just go up exponentially. And I believe that Bitcoin and crypto is probably going through that same dynamic right now. All right. So anyway, um, in the Advantage side, I think you guys know very well, we started a challenge for the Advantage members. I've made about 18 videos so far. We started on December 30th with $5,000. This was not a copy trading account. This is not financial advice. So once again, this is me just showing people in our community how exactly I would trade the market. And so far, we had a lot of ups and a lot of downs. And currently today, let me see here. We're currently at $11,700. Okay. So we're at $11,700 starting from 5,000. So been about 22 days or so, right? That's a good 110, 120% up that we are in our account. At the highest, we were at 18,000. At the lowest, I think somewhere over here, we were somewhere around 7,500 to 8,000. But you can see, we've had our highs and lows, and I would like to show people exactly how I deal with those highs and lows, how I take positions, how I size positions, where I place my stops, where I take profit, where do I buy spot versus where do I go long, where do I double down versus trim down my positions, all right? All this stuff is available in this playlist for my Advantage members, all right? So anyway, I had a long I feel like I've lectured you guys enough. I'm going to get to the analysis real quick. So I spoke about this, right? Like I said, I believe that we're probably going to squeeze up towards 40,000 before we dump down further. Okay. And by the way, it's not even necessary that from here we have to dump down. It's very possible that if we get towards 40,000, we hold strongly and we push up with high volume, then we're clearing this high. And I'm fairly confident that we're going to make it towards 50,000. But we must get above this high marker, which is around $40,100. And we must break through it with high volume and hold this area. If not, we are probably going to come back inside the range, maybe towards 35, maybe towards 34, and quite possibly lower. All right. FTT, which is one of my other favorite altcoins that I am trading and investing in. Okay. My entry for FTT is from way the heck down here. All right. I told my Advantage members that this was probably one of my favorite projects because one, it's an exchange token, and two, it's an exchange token by one of the most innovative exchanges in the crypto space and ran by one of the smartest people, who is Sam Bankman-Fried. All right. So I truly believe that FTT is going to be the one token that I see going up at least towards $15, $20, $30. I don't think it's going to be a straight, ride from here on the way up like this. There's going to be a lot of chop. There's going to be, stuff like this, and we might come down here, do some garbage like this. But I am prepared to buy the dip. I am prepared for big drawdowns in FTT. But I believe that this is the one project that I am going to focus on for the rest of 2021. ETH is the other one, right? So I own a bunch of ETH spot, and ETH I got into right around 594 on average, right? So from here to where we are right now, I'm up 123%. Same thing with ETH. I believe that ETH is going to really surprise people going into 2021. If you think that $1,300 is a high price for ETH, wait till you find out what 2021, the rest of 2021, holds for store in terms of ETH. Okay, because I personally believe that ETH is at minimum a $2,000 bet and quite possibly 2,500, maybe even higher. But for now, that's as far as my imagination goes. Once we get to 2,000, 2,500, then we'll see what happens. The one thing that I am concerned about is Ethereum does have futures coming out on February 8th, 2021. Okay, as you can see right here. All right. Let me see. As you can see right here, February 8th, 2021. This concerns me because remember, when you have an asset that has an inclusion in the futures, right, you are not then just hoping for buying opportunities, meaning you're not just looking for spot purchases. You're now looking for people to borrow the asset and then sell it perpetually down with short positions. And remember, people in the CME world, especially because CMEs are connected with bigger institutions and bigger hedge funds, they have ungodly amounts of money to be able to crush assets down 30, 40, 50, 70, 80%. They've done it many times. They've done it with gold. They've done it with silver markets. Bitcoin and crypto is a piddly game for them if they decide to do so, by the way. Okay. So they've dealt with $1 trillion, market cap assets, and they can for sure do that with Ethereum and Bitcoin if they choose to do so. The only thing is, right? The only thing that markets care about is where is the most amount of money to be made. If it's to the upside, these people are going to go long, right? They're going to keep betting on this until this thing gets towards 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, who knows? They're going to take it to ungodly heights, okay? Just like Bitcoin got driven up, okay? So don't ever underestimate how high, in terms of valuations things can go, because Bitcoin and crypto are very new speculative assets. They can go extremely high or they can get pummeled 30, 40, 50% in less than a month, right? But for now, like I said, go with the flow, go with the trend, go with the fundamentals of all the people who are getting involved in crypto, all the institutions and hedge funds who keep talking about, Bitcoin being the asset that they're focused on, all right? And of course, second to Bitcoin is only ETH, right? Ethereum is a massive asset. It has clearly proven itself over and over again. So if Ethereum is going to go up, it's going to go extremely high, in my opinion. All right. And then finally, WIFI is the other asset that I pay attention to. I personally believe that WIFI at one point, once it breaks through this key high, which is $44,000, I think it's just going to rip. I think it's going to head towards like 50, 60, 70,000 really fast. At present moment, I think these are the key support levels for WIFI. This 30 to 29 or $28,000 range, that's a key support area. I've been long in WIFI since about 24. Okay, so we're up a good amount in our advantage side. I'm just holding on to spot. If I need to double down on my WIFI position and go long as well, meaning longing my longs, I will. I'm not seeing that as an opportunity yet, but I'm still looking forward to WIFI going up. Okay, nothing has changed in my thought process of WIFI, heading up or heading down. I think for now it's just ranging, and we'll see. We'll take it day to day. Link, the other asset, Link has done tremendously well, right? It broke through its previous all-time high, and now it's just kind of hovering around $21, $22 or so. It's very possible that Link starts heading up, higher, but for now, I think all this is predicated upon the fact of what happens here. Does price come back inside the range, or do we start pushing up from here? And I think whatever happens with Link is probably going to be the same case for something like FTT, for something like WiFi, for something like Ethereum. Okay, because the point is that most of these assets are generally correlated, right? They're correlated in a sense that not all of them are too far apart in terms of their valuation or their trend, right? If Link is in the DeFi space, I'm expecting Band and WiFi. What else is in the Aave and possibly even SNX? All these coins to perform somewhere around the same area. It's not like I would expect Link to completely outperform and then WiFi to completely shit the bed, unless there's just terrible news that's coming out for one versus the other. But generally, they all kind of move about the same. Like here's DeFi blue chips, right? You can see across the board, like they're pretty close. Nothing is down negative 10, 15%, and something is up, 10, 15%, right? Around the same basket. Okay, so that's generally my thought process is, when you have a basket or the subsector, if you will, which is DeFi, I'm kind of looking at all of them to come somewhere around the same area of performance, right? And then same goes for DeFi compared to ETH, or ETH compared to Wi-Fi, or Wi-Fi compared to FTT. They're all altcoins. So here and there, if it's a quality altcoin, which I believe FTT and Link and Wi-Fi and ETH are, they should be performing well. If your altcoin is looking somewhere like this and it's starting to head down further and further, something is wrong. That means that altcoin is probably garbage. Okay. Your altcoin should have this kind of structure or better, or it should be somewhere close to previous all-time highs, like ETH is, like Wi-Fi is, or FTT, which is putting in new all-time highs. All right. Let me see here. Let's check out XRP. Let's see. XRP USD. All right. I swear I had XRP USDC. Oh. I know they have one on Coinbase. Oh, I guess I got delisted. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so XRP, that's another coin, right? Not really paying attention to it because it has too many things in terms of bad news, right? It's getting delisted from exchanges. SEC is after it because it's maybe a security or classified as an unregistered security. But I just wanted to cover it real quick because people keep asking about XRP. And my answer generally is don't touch it. Unless you're strictly looking for gambling because you think that it has massive upside, then you can buy anywhere, have your stop below this low, and you can bet for previous highs. That's it. That's how I would play it. Not investment advice, but that's how I would do it. If you truly have that conviction and you think that XRP is going to come back to life and it's going to do really well, that's all you can do. Go long, stop below here, aim for previous highs. All right. So anyway, we talked about Ethereum futures. We talked about the fundamentals of other players, other big players getting involved in Bitcoin. We talked about the price action of Bitcoin. Why I believe that Bitcoin is probably headed towards 40,000 first before it heads down further, if it's supposed to head down further at all. Talked about my favorite altcoins like Link and Wi-Fi and Ethereum and FTT. We talked about our $5,000 challenge, right? So if you guys want to follow along in terms of this challenge, I make these videos every single day for my Advantage members. You can come join our Discord community. The link is below, thealphatrades.com. You can sign up for a subscription for $97 per month. All right. Anyway, hit the thumbs up if you guys enjoy our content. That's all I got for y'all. Until then, take care. Cheers. Make some great money in the bull market. And I'll catch up with y'all soon.